So here's something I've been noticing, like a little hotter than usual. And so I was like, okay, well, that's not that much. And then I was noticing like all the plants around me are kind of like dying. And then so I was like, okay, I'm going to go over here to the rich person's yard who takes care of their stuff. And manicures it and has feedings and probably waters it and all this stuff. And this is like actually pretty healthy right here, considering it actually looks like it's dying. You can't really see here at night. You should have brought a second light to show you. But it's obviously dying. And well, I don't think we've reached the peak of the summer yet, to be honest. You can see clearly it's like darker there, and then it's like light there. It's like it's dead here. And this is an area that's taken care of. You can see it's like got fancy brick walls surrounding it and shrubs all over it and stuff like that. And the media has all like been hyping up global warming and all this stuff. And really the only question you got to ask is who's in control of the weather. It's someone. And it's either them doing it to like enslave people. I mean, hell, I shouldn't even talk bad about them these days, because from what I've experienced, they're probably fucking right about everything they're doing in this world. And it's either them or it's like a god above them, which I think like they act as the gods and stuff like that. And for all I know, they do completely control the humans. Although they've told me they aren't the creators, so it's a different situation, whether you're the person playing the video game character or you're the person creating the video games. Two different things. It doesn't matter. You're still semi the god if you're the person playing the video game character. You're just not the actual creator. See over here, it's like destroyed. It's like turned to hay. The grass doesn't turn to hay usually. Not in this city. But it's been heating up, and then I see all these other things happening, and they're like, oh, this happens every year, this flood happens every year. That like totally destroys these cities, and it's like, well, those cities look really built up for a city that got flooded 12 months ago. They're doing a really good job rebuilding their cities. There's people out here who can't build anything after decades. And so there's like all these things happening. And they've got and the odd thing is like they'll have like, if you look into it, they'll have like an excuse for everything too. They're like, oh, it's just natural. This always happens. But I can tell you one thing I don't remember is like everything dying because of the heat. And I don't remember it being that hot before. When I was a kid, like definitely I was outside all the time. Oh. But yeah, I stopped going outside so I could avoid humans. And maybe things slowly change over those years, but I don't think so, because it's like this is barely a change yet. It's not hot. It's not really that hot to me. It's just not that hot yet. But anyways, like the question really is what's causing it, right? Is it because you're throwing your trash on the ground? Is it because people are coming around here and they're throwing their litter on the ground and it's causing global warming? You know, you throw this piece of paper over here on the ground and the earth is like, I don't like you, I'm going to heat up and burn you or something, whatever it is they say. That makes no sense, right? But then again, when they speak to me, they talk about if you control the world, You don't want people knowing you control it. And so I guess you got to make up some nonsense about what you're really doing to cover up what's going on. That way no one asks dumb questions. Like, why is this happening? Why is that going on? And still leads me to question who's in control. I guess everyone else just who can get that far would automatically be like, it's the New World Order and all that. And they make a good scapegoat. I can tell you that. And I should stop scapegoating them and talking about them, period. Because I wonder sometimes, like, what's really going on after speaking with some of them. And, hell, maybe they're good people after all. Fucking, maybe these places deserve this shit. Maybe they deserve their floods and they deserve being burned up. I'm being like serious. I'm being pretty serious actually at this point in time. And I have been for a few years. I've been questioning that. But is this global warming? Like you threw your Snickers wrapper on the ground, and now the sun is burning it up or trying to burn away the waste on the planet. It makes no sense. And then the cars driving by, like, they're producing emissions and blah, blah, blah. Even though, like, I'm out in the middle of the countryside sometimes when I'm seeing weather stuff happen. And there should be no emissions in those areas. But anyways, like I said, I probably shouldn't even talk about this stuff anymore. But I think it's actually kind of cool. I like the world can change like that. And personally, like, I think it's probably them because this is like lightweight shit here where you just burn the grass and stuff like that. But I think it's messing with the animals. The animals, I think, are getting, like, pissed because they don't have grass to eat. Apparently, grass is the most nutritious thing in the world, and a lot of animals eat it. So it's like the world's largest crop is dying off. But there's all these other anomalies they say are going on, like floods happening and giant, massive sinkholes. You say like Yellowstone, freaking. They had massive freaking failures, and personally, I think that's because Yellowstone's about to rot. I believe if this is going this far, then you might as well just blow Yellowstone, freaking. And I suppose, like, if you believe in science and not which is odd because, like, advanced science could, like, claim to control the weather. But if you believe in, like, science, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's just the Earth shifting and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, the Earth's shifting around, like, the world's, second largest volcano or something. And that means it's probably about to erupt. So I've been kind of, like, looking for that every now and then to hear. But we're going to, like, be able to just look up in the sky when that happens. And then there's not going to be a sky. I don't think you're going to have to look up in the sky. I think ash is going to fall all over the country when that happens. There's not going to be any need to look it up. There's not going to be any internet to look it up on. There's not going to be any wireless communications, any internet communications to look that stuff up on. If that does, and it probably will happen, I have no doubt in my mind those volcanoes were created for a reason. And if they're working on the weather here and stuff, they're playing with the weather and using it as weapons, I'm sure they understand how to blow fucking Yellowstone volcano. That's got to be like pretty easy. Like you just hit the ground with a large seismic weapon, a large radio wave that has massive power, and it probably just like upsets it. I mean, I think technically, like, the real answer is the game is designed this as a weapon and stuff. So there's like some other nonsense behind what has created all these things. But yeah, I think with that Yellowstone thing, that's just like a sign that that place is becoming unstable. And so, you know, a lot of people are like, it's a new world order, controlling the weather and with weather weapons and stuff like that. And yeah, it takes a lot of, probably takes a lot of effort to control a whole planet with weather weapons and stuff, as opposed to it being like something else going on, like part of the game or something like that. A simple command issued by the person who created the planet. I mean, you could have a whole fucking array of things out in the so-called space area, which oddly like has a lot of weird links to it, which people saying we forgot how to go there and stuff like that. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, that's exactly what a crackhead says when you talk to him about stuff. You're like, I didn't take your money, man. Santa Claus came by and took it, and I tried to stop him. I'm working with NASA, bro. We're going to space tomorrow, bro. I didn't have time to steal your money. Literally sounds like something NASA would say. Exactly sounds the same thing as a classical crackhead would say. So you can't really believe that anything's out there controlling things necessarily, but if that exists, they obviously have that under control as well. So they probably do have like ways to control every sort of atmosphere in the world. I think it's something else, to be honest. Like, until I go to space, till I fly a rocket out there, these other people are liars. I mean, they are liars. We know they're liars. Not until I go to space. We know they're liars. But we could send a person who's not a liar to space. If we ever found a person who's not a liar, we could send them to space and let them see for themselves and come back and report. And then, but even then, that's hard, because you could find a person who's not a liar and they're a coward, and they're being threatened and blackmailed into not saying anything, which is what Buzz Aldrin acted like. He acted like he was a coward who was threatened and blackmailed into staying silent, and it made him aggressive when he was approached and asked questions about things. But what do you guys think? You guys think because your children, or your best friend's children, or your brother and sister threw a Snickers wrapper on the ground, you guys think that's why the grass is dying and stuff? I don't think so, but I shouldn't run my mouth about these things, because every now and then I see stuff and they tell me stuff, and it's like, oh, maybe I should just act stupid and act like I'm part of the human race and something, and just keep moving on. Like, the dumber I act, the better it is. They told me once, if you control the world, why would you want anyone to know that? And like, I told him, like, well, because then they would fucking start acting right, and that didn't work at all. Like, when I told some people some things, like I think some of them were probably just scared to say anything, and they didn't believe anything. And then others like get psycho crazy, and they're like, you're crazy about what I talk about, what I've seen happen and stuff, and control of things in this world. It's like, okay, well, yeah, like, now I understand when they tell me if you control the world, you don't want people to know about that. It's not just like a matter of telling people, like, hey, like, we're here in control, fucking, you know, like, you should act right, something like that. It's not just about hiding who you are, because you're a hider and you want to hide forever. It's about, like, trying to blend in and fit in, and then people not, like, stepping on you because you're in control of things and they aren't, and it just, like, jealousy, rage, narcissism, these things, these jealousy things, these narcissism things, that fucking, I don't know why the system has programmed humans with it, but whatever it is, this provokes this extremely. You could learn to play drums, you could learn to play guitar, you could learn to play trumpet, you could learn how to mow the grass, and someone else, somehow, other beings who don't know how to mow the grass or play guitar or play trumpet start to get super jealous over it, like to the point they might kill you or something. And it's like, what, I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but it seems to happen. Like, they've been telling me that for a long time. Like, I've had people in my life showing that stuff to me, that if you control something, if you can do something, there'll be people who hoard that information and won't tell you anything because they feel like it's the only thing they got. And then there'll be other people, like, I think they've been trying to teach me some of this for like at least 8 years, like really hardcore trying to. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you talking about me? And so I just shut it all off and stuff. But I've been like forced into all sorts of educational situations. And it makes me realize, like, yeah, like there are literally like, there's like geese out here, like, and there's geese out here who act up, and the geese, I think they get jealous and psychotic when like you show them that like it could be over for them any second. You're just being nice to them and feeding them and giving them food, and that they shouldn't attack you and kill you. And like the humans, many of them have this command in them too. They don't take no, they don't take yes, they don't take anything except for the exact keywords and numbers and security code that they want to hear come from you. So if you control things, I can kind of see why you would want to hide these days. I've had this happen where things have happened, and I was like trying to explain this to people, like hey, like, I think I did that. They're trying to blame me for this, and they're like, they go like psychotic if I like talk about it and stuff. And it's like, I want to know information. I want to understand what's going on. But apparently they don't know. Apparently they're not the ones who understand. And this other group who appears out of nowhere, they act like they don't understand things fully either. So, you know, that makes me question more what's going on. It's like, wait a minute, if you guys like control the weather and can teleport or shape shift, like, shouldn't you like aren't you in a time zone where you can just like take a pill and know everything, or hook your brain up to a Neuralink with Elon Musk or something and know everything there ever was? Or would you not do that because it's like dangerous and it destroys your mind to understand things, and it makes you hate and not want to be alive to see everything? Or so it's like, how do you come up to me and you tell me things like, if you control the world, why would you want everyone to know that you do that? And, you know, these are the people I blame for controlling stuff. And I try to interrogate them. And they seem dumb sometimes. I mean, it could be they're just so smart. They're really good at playing dumb. I mean, that does happen. I've been fooled my whole life by people around me who I think knew more than they ever talked about. I definitely see some of these things like smirks in people's faces and little things they do, little twitches and stuff like that. I definitely see that. And you can see that in a crackhead too, like when like after you give him $5 and then he needs 5 more, and then he needs 5 more because you had the first 5, now he needs more because the hamburger he's about to buy costs $10 now. And then after you give him 5 more, the new hamburger costs $15. He's got these weird little twitches about him that are like a dead giveaway that he's just a lying scumbag. Things like that, like, it's odd, like I have to look back at my life and review people under that, but it's even more odd that those things are there and they've always been so apparent that I've always been like uncomfortable around some of these things. But anyways, so what's happening here? Where we got global warming, and the storyline here is we got global warming, we got the New World Order probably control the weather, and the global warming is being used to secure a tax, so all people pay even more money to the governments now than they have their whole lives, because the government's going to come help you, just like the government has came out here and watered this grass here on the government land. They came out here and they cut it. They didn't water it, so they're going to need more water or more money that they can flush down the drain. That's going to help everything because the government's been so good, so great so far. It's fixed all the problems on the earth, and now the only problem left, I guess, is the sun's heating up, and they're gonna come clean up the Snickers wrappers that everyone threw on the ground or something. They do that, obviously, or there'd probably be a lot more in this area. They're going to come clean up the Snickers wrappers, and then the sun will stop overheating, blah, 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 and then everyone has to move into their cities, Agenda 21, into mega cities. You're not allowed to live on the outside because it's going to be so hot and all this. And they haven't begun to talk about weather shields and stuff like that, because once they get you to do that, and if they don't feel that's enough, then they're going to change it and be like, well, we should have some weather shields and stuff on the cities. Like what movie was that had that? I don't think that was Rain Man, right? I always forget the name of that movie. I always want to watch it again to see what information was hidden in it, because this conversation always leads to that. The Agenda 21, the New World Order, the weather control, always leads in my mind to the building the weather bubbles around cities scenario. So you gotta make up your mind on what you believe is happening. It seems like there's a lot of people out here who simply don't care what's happening, and if you try to talk to them, like, that might be like your last talk you ever had. They might go into trash panda mode and just go psycho on you or something. But what is it? Like, how's the grass dying? It's the solar maximum. We're reaching the solar maximum. Or is it the trash, the Snickers wrappers being thrown on the ground, earth being polluted? Is there something else? Is there like a God who's come to earth, like the creators or the controllers? Have they like arrived and they've decided that earth should be canceled? And if that's the case, like, why are they covering it up? But with the New World Order the case, we understand why they're covering up themselves, because they are the media. But the odd thing is, in the other case, where you have them writing books talking about the God's going to come back to Earth and destroy it, and they're going to hide him when he comes back. And I could see, like, if you have like these people on this planet, like, stepping all over, like if you control the planet and you come to it, and then they start stepping on you and just kicking you around, and you're like, wait a minute, like, I'm in control of this place, like, these people are way out of hand, then I could see, like, you really, like, doing some things, and then I could see it also pissing some people off. And at the same time, I could also see, like, the New World Order, like, working, like, actually on their side, even though they're the evil in the story. They could be working on their side to protect them and cover them up. But it says in like these stories, if you believe in that stuff, that the person who comes to Earth, who controls Earth, is going to come to it, and they're going to be covered up. So then the media has stories. If that's what's happened, if we have the person is controlling the Earth, and not just weather manipulation devices up in space or something, then we have the media obviously covering that up and stuff, that they think someone's come back to Earth like that, and they're just talking about, oh, you're throwing your Snickers wrappers on the ground and now the Earth's on fire. It's on fire. The Earth's dying because you threw a Snickers wrapper on the ground. But it's one of these things, right? It's got to be something. Or it's just, who knows, hocus pocus, bo diddly fairy tales or something. Nothing's happening at all. Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm in the darkness right now and I'm lying to you that the grass is like dying and all this stuff. And I've been watching the weather be altered for like 2 years now. So I think I made a couple really out there videos about, like, I think I'm seeing like the weather be altered like ASAP, like real fast, clouds and the sun speaking, like showing symbols and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, so who's behind that? I asked, and like the clouds and the sun, like it showed me like symbols and stuff when I asked that. So that's actually the largest thing I remember it doing, is when I said, oh, I wonder who's in control, and then they showed me some symbols. So yeah, like what is this? All an attempt here to just like Agenda 21 people and lock them up. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. It's kind of extreme. It's not quite as extreme as I would ask for if I were in control and I was pissed off. I'd be asking for a lot of shit, but then supposedly a lot of shit's happening, floods and all this stuff. Some of those places are saying that the floods happen all the time. But also, from what I'm seeing, you can rewrite the past. So if they're saying that like floods happen all the time, then that doesn't mean that floods used to happen all the time. That means that the news the history has been rewritten, where they say floods used to happen all the time. And, I started noticing that, like with the bird die out. I started noticing the history being rewritten around the bird die out time, like when that became popular. Some of you remember that. They're like, oh, the birds are dying out, the fish are dying out in large masses, and they're like, oh, that happens every year. There's like an algae bloom or something like that. But I didn't. The grass out here, from what I recall, wasn't burnt every year. So, and some of these other things, and other people talk about the Mandela effect and stuff. Nah. Someone told me the Bible was rewritten. And I looked it up online, and there is a discussion about that. And that's not saying like they've got like 92 versions of the Bible. They have like 16 versions of the Bible. That's not saying they rewrote a new version. That's saying that the words were erased and all the Bible somehow rewritten and stuff like that. People say other things like that have been rewritten and erased. And I'm pretty sure, from what I've seen, like, the world is false constructs, so that stuff can happen here. And it makes me wonder, like, if I see these floods and, these global warming events, and then when someone counter-argues, say, hey, that's been going on, that happens every year. And it's especially suspicious when we look at a developed city and watching buses and the whole city get washed away in a giant flood. It's like, wait a minute, like that city like looks very developed for something that had this happen like a year ago. It's almost no way that you've redeveloped this city in this time frame, even though they can counter it with some media showing